Welcome to the Aegance Offscript Podcast, where we talk to industry leaders who share their stories, insights, and lessons, unfiltered and unscripted. I'm your host, Lawrence, and today I'm joined by Ross Ranby, the owner of BlueGoat Digital Marketing Solutions, a South African agency helping businesses grow through smart, data-driven marketing. What makes BlueGoat stand out is their focus on blending creative strategy with automation, helping SMEs build intelligent websites and systems that don't just look good, but actually convert. Ross, great to have you here. Let's dive right in.
Lawrence, thank you for having me, sir. Much appreciated. Excited.
Can you give us a little bit more context around BlueGoat Digital? I positioned you to a certain degree, but I'm sure you can give us some more insights into what it is that you guys are doing, what are your areas of operations, etc.
BlueGoat is basically, I call it a 360 digital agency. So covering website development, both standard and e-commerce and bespoke, mobile app development, SEO, search engine optimization, Google Ads, social media management, email marketing, got a really cool graphic design team. Pretty much the traditional corners. And on the AI side, always looking to get deeper. But at this point, some kind of basic things that touch on our websites and tracking and back-end facilities for our clients. As well as, as well as at the moment, a new kind of offering in the last few months has been answer engine automation, CRM systems, and any kind of automation that we can really get our hands on at this point. But that's kind of where we're at.
And what originally inspired you to start BlueGoat Digital, and how has the vision for your business evolved since day one?
Just kind of having our kind of business hats on, we feel that Africa, in the digital space is going to be the biggest emerging market. And that's really led us to starting BlueGoat. And I guess also driven by a bit of a passion for being involved in small to medium enterprises being built. I feel that every day we are actively a part of building people's businesses. I think that excited us. Just the overall kind of love for the space and eye on where it's going to go, and that as an exciting thought and prospect, I feel ever evolving, if you will.
And how do you define success today versus when you first began?
Corner one is performing, is increasing our books and earnings, and with that comes power in the sense of what we can get involved in and trial and build on. I would definitely say for us, keeping our client list full and having the financial side of it as growing as it is probably point number one. But more than that, I think we really love we pride ourselves on good work. And I know that might sound cheesy, but doing good work for us is really important. I think myself and my partner in the business really do keep an eye on whatever clients you are, no matter how small or big or whatever your sector is. We really do care about bringing the best we can to it. And I think as long as we're doing that, just to take a step back, from finance or monetary growth, I think the first thought for us is as long as we're putting out the quality and care that we strive to, I think the rest comes. So that, in fact, I'm going to swap them around. I'm going to, as cheesy as it sounds, I'm going to say first is doing good work. And then secondly, to us, obviously, success is keeping the doors and lights open and building.
And as an owner and a decision maker, how do you balance creativity versus the strategic direction of the company?
I think fine lines in the sense of, I still do believe that as much as, AI, automation, etc., is becoming the new buzz and will be, I think, for quite a substantial period going forward. I still think that it's our team is where the creative end of it comes from. And I think a good balance between good team members and good systems, good tools is how I would, is what I would say in regards to that. I think the fine line between good team members, a lean, good team, and then in this world, clever, equipping yourself effectively with the tools that are out there that can change the day-to-day productivity quite sufficiently. So I'd say a good balance between good team members and technology. Yeah.
Now, the digital marketing space, it seems to be changing every day, changing very quickly. Are there any key innovations or pivots that you've made recently that's helped you stay relevant?
Definitely major things that are in the pipeline. I think we are, and one day hopefully we'll do this again and I'll be able to go into, you know what I'm saying, we'll delve into that. But I think some of the things we are looking at and actively pursuing are extremely exciting, and hopefully trying to put ourselves on the front line of, excuse me, sorry, my phone just went. Again, I think what we're working on is a couple of things that will put us on the front line of AI and development in that space. I think with it ever changing at the moment, what I would say is just the tools that are available to keep a team lean. I think, I love humans and always will, and I think and I love our team, but I think enabling a real core of good perform or good operators to do the most work is kind of where we are at the moment. So with some of the AI visual creative, the ability to create visuals on some of the recently introduced AI tools and evolving AI tools is a huge thing for us, where it's changed the game in many ways regarding what can be done with a bit of creativity combined. And then as I said earlier, things on our with regards to our websites, we offer to our clients, we offer them a back end system to their own sites, and there's some really cool tools that assist them in that regard that I think make the value of our proposition or our offering in that space.
Speaking about your website, you mentioned things like intelligent websites and Let's Grow CRM. What problems were these built to solve for your clients?
Yeah, I think again, especially with businesses that employ a lot of staff or are bigger, let's call them the medium enterprises to the larger ones. I think that, in coordination between their teams and larger teams can sometimes become a thing with regards to everybody being in the loop at the times they should be. And I think things like, CRM system offerings and automation assist with that mainly, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's, as well as tracking and communication within teams. I think that's the true value of that. And I think then again, as we move, let's get a bit smaller with it. It lends itself naturally to say that if you're a person getting into business, we can do things with the CRM that will allow you not to have to employ somebody that potentially you haven't been able to find in terms of skills yet, or potentially your budget or your startup runway doesn't kind of pertain to. So I think on a larger scale, it's about kind of keeping people accountable and organized and making sure things run smoothly. And on a smaller scale, I would say it's about literally being able to do more with less.
Now, running an agency often comes down to the systems that are in play. What are the processes that you rely on most to deliver consistent results for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, from our side, I must say, we rely on our website and the marketing we do around it. We try always we like to drive people through the website, and I hope I'm answering your question or touching on it. Is we keep it as simple as possible, and I think that that's something that I always advise my clients to do as well. Not that keeping it simple means that you don't need to grow your tool base or your technology, the technology you're using, but from our side, we try to keep it as simple as possible. And that comes through basically good marketing and driving people through our website so they get a bit familiar with us, you with me, and then funnel them into contacting us. And then I think from there, a few things take place, but mainly we try to get in touch on a human level quite efficiently. And, I think on that, from our side, I think a lot of people, especially maybe in our region of the world, are very new and almost a bit apprehensive or scared, for lack of a better word, of automation and tools and so on and so forth. So we try from the BlueGoat side, as much as we try not have you speak into a bot for 25 minutes before you can talk to one of us, if you will. You with me? We actually try to keep it simple and guide people through the what seems to be a maze, but actually isn't. It's you know what I'm saying. It's quite grasp. I think it's easy to grasp for anybody who's willing to listen. So that's pretty much how I would cover that.
And if we continue with the narrative around systems and internal processes, how are you managing quality control as you scale and grow the company?
It's becoming. I'm not going to lie. It's a challenge. I think again we run quite a lean team for many reasons, and that means there's our team is busy. You with me? And that is, I think, if every business goes through their challenges, I would say at BlueGoat that's something we're on top of it, and we never let it slip, because I think for us even timelines are timelines are extremely important, but first the work must be what it should. So to answer that, I would say it's something that's a daily challenge at the moment. Keeping, growing the client base and making sure that everybody gets a level is tough. And I think, again, we look to one or two tools to, try keep a handle on it across our team, and always looking to sharpen those tools. Yeah. And probably we'll definitely continue to, because again, I think that's a key challenge for us at the moment.
You mentioned timelines. I'd imagine as an agency, you need to constantly be balancing speed and quality, speed of delivery versus the quality of the work. How do you ensure both?
I would say, again, simple stuff on simplifying it and not getting too technical. Again, I like to keep things simple. And I think one is being efficient from sale to brief. You with me? And then that brief being understood by the team as clearly as they can. That little process there, from when somebody accepts your, what we call pricing proposal, to, confirm, to hitting the go button and then getting a brief from a client and then briefing our team. I think that that lends itself to timeline and quality. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always pedantic about having our team briefed as soon as possible, and then letting them kind of manage their workload, accordingly. But to ensure that things are delivered how they should be, of the level they should be, and in the time they should be. Because I do myself, I try every day to be as patient as I can. I'm not blessed with patience, so I can. It's easy for me to relate to a client who wants things done on time. You with me? I think it's very important that things are executed. Obviously, again, back to the quality. I would rather get in touch with the client and communicate. I think communication is key. Then deliver them something I'm not happy with. I'd say I'd never do that. I would rather just have a word on timeline. But when I say move the timeline, I mean by a day, potentially. I think delivery is timing is a big part of, I think, what we do. Yeah. And that lends itself to, social media management, scheduling of content, etc. It all needs to run timelessly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And what would you say is working best for you right now when it comes to finding and retaining new clients?
I would say, again, this thing of, I think what we do pretty well is we understand that we're gonna really move a client towards, changing a lot of processes potentially with automation and scheduling and tools, etc. And but I think to be as direct as possible, I think it's about, I like to get on the ground with the client, you with me, and have a human touch early, you with me, to show that I think that puts people at ease in this world where I think a lot of people are kind of like, whoa, can be overwhelmed by entering the digital space. So yeah, I think a human touch is key. And then from there, I think managing relationships is key, and that is tough. That is on top of all the other things that are needed to check off. Managing relationships is one that is top priority to us. And, it comes with every challenge in the book. But yeah, I think, and then another obvious one is good communication. We always try to keep things as transparent and the communication as open and fluid as possible. Yeah.
And Ross, what client acquisition channels are yielding the best results for you? Is it through referrals? Is it through your outbound marketing efforts, or your inbound interest through the websites and maybe your LinkedIn and social media channels?
Referrals are a good one. They naturally build over time, so yeah, we do good referral work, and long may that continue. I think a couple of our digital marketing strategies covering our Google ads, so a bit of social media and search engine optimization work, really is the core of it. I think from our side, what we feel comfortable in is that, often I say to a client, like, I don't know how often I've said it, that, well, look how you found us. And that seems to very quickly put them at ease, because they go through the process and go, wow, no, this person, this agency, we found them through what we're looking for them to do for us. So there's a case study there already. So paid marketing through the different pillars, we obviously prioritize one or two as keys, and we then, from there, again, like to direct people through our website so they can have their own time processing our little brand and our feel and our offering. And I think once somebody has gone through our form process, I know they're a good lead. You with me, because they've gone through the full cycle, and from there it usually goes pretty well. Yeah. On the other hand, is like what I find is a bit of insight, is what I do find is a bit not as is driving people to WhatsApp. I've got to be honest. I find a WhatsApp link or button to be quite sporadic and all over the show. So what I'm trying to say with that is, again, where we direct how they come through the funnel for us is important. You with me, and our priority is to send them through our contact form, so they fill in. We also run an audit for them. We'll offer clients like a little free audit. You with me, where and that is also a good one, where they can get in touch and we can just have a little look at website. What are they doing? What aren't they doing? Look at their social media, and if it's about and look at their challenge that they're facing.
So the SME market can be quite price sensitive. Do you find that you need to educate clients regularly on the value versus the cost?
I think you couldn't have said it better. Price sensitive is a good way of putting it. And we don't cookie cutter pricing either. So you'll note on our website there is no pricing up, and that's because we do find that there's very seldom an identical, and when I mean identical, like I mean identical job job comes along. Everybody's got their specific business, things that need to be prioritized in any corner of what we do, and for that, I think the discovery and consulting, if you will, phase of it is key. And there, you show them the value, and as well, I think it puts people at ease that for us they're being priced as what they are. You know what I mean? They're not just being forced into a pricing box that potentially has corners or areas that are not relevant to them, that they might not recognize immediately as relevant to them. So I think not having this stringent package thing, although they are packages, but having a little bit of the ability to consult on pricing and what the client needs, and then I think, as you said, a good way is showing them the value, and that is a constant every day. Very few people are just like, they don't want to talk about the value proposition. Let's put it that way.
And how are you handling the skepticism that comes around the return on investment in marketing?
Again, I have a clear message. I think as if in this world, and I say to clients, I'm sure the reason that we're even having the discussion is because it's playing on your mind. You with me with regards to being visible digitally and growing that presence. And I do think, and I mean it, this is not I think it's key, no matter what business you're in, for you to have a presence online. A different kind of presence, sure, for whatever your needs are and your business is, but not being visible online, I just think it's not an option. And I literally say it like that. You with me? And I believe that wholeheartedly. I fight skepticism with my full array of energy, if you will, because I think, again, with the way the world is going, no matter what you do, you need to be represented. You need to have a good representation of your brand, business, self online.
And if we look internally at the company culture at BlueGoat, how do you keep your team motivated in a fast-paced environment?
Always trying to keep it, for lack of a better word, pleasant. I think staying calm. And I have a bit of European blood. I mean, I can get passionate. So staying calm and kind of hearing everybody when there's an issue is key. I think humans are humans, so I try always listen and try be a human back first, and then I think from there just keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? There's very little that can go wrong if we just do. Again, what I say a lot is, and this is what I say to our team, is I like to do, and I like products or anything that does what it says on the tin. You with me? That I feel is like something that is crucial, and for our team, I try to relay that message. Like, all of us just need to do what we said we would. You with me? To the best of our ability, and if we can do that, we're going to be fine. And again, I think to finish, I'm a deep defender of my team. You with me? So as much as like I can be the person to maybe apply some pressure or whatever, but I don't, and that's why I do a lot of the client facing, or so me and my partner and we're the client facing one, because I think protecting the team from the noise is key. Especially when dealing with the odd team member who's handling more technical and deep sort of tasks. Them not being involved in noise is I think something we try do to the best of our ability. You know what I mean?
You mentioned that your team is lean. Does that mean that it's a remote work environment, or do you go into an office every day?
No, we're fully remote.
Okay.
Our team is fully remote, with some team members based in Europe, for instance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm working remotely. I find, and I guess also we happen to be birthed out of kind of COVID, so it kind of it made perfect sense. We built it that way. You with me? Because of the like fog of when will it be back? Will we be? You know what I mean? So we never really thought much about that. We always, and to be honest, that is a bit of a coincidence because we were always aiming to do it that way. I personally feel that we get back to managing the team. I think a bit of them being able to kind of execute in their own space is key, and I think as well as the fact that at a certain level, really high skills become tough to manage 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You with me? Like, well, that's just my perspective on it. Do we consider setting up offices and changing that model slightly? Yes, sometimes we do consider it. But it still there would still be key players that would be remote just because they're that's where they're meant to be. You with me?
Well, as you say, you've got team members that are in Europe, so expecting them to come into an office would be pretty tough. But the remote by design business approach and work environments is obviously a bit of a trend these days, and it's certainly working well for most companies. The challenge with that approach, however, is fostering real company culture. And I think something that's taken a bit of a hit since COVID and since we were all forced to work from home is company culture. And, you find businesses are really struggling to foster what pre-COVID was a draw card for some companies. Because now with everyone working, remotely through a screen, you miss that human contact. So how are you managing to keep a tight-knit company culture whilst also leaning into the remote by design approach?
Yeah, I mean, look, good question. I think everything's got its pluses, pros and cons, if you will, and I accept that. I think that, that's a point well made. I think, we do try, and, our team members in Europe, we've met with them. We've had many get-togethers with them, and we try run like a little seasonal kind of teams thing, whatever we go and do. So that's in line with trying to build a bit of culture. But I think just generally, we've selected a team that lend itself to that our model. You with me? So their personalities and who they are really, I think they embrace the benefits. And that grows a bit of culture. You with me? Because while I think they don't feel micromanaged, and again, their personalities really do suit them being able to kind of not run themselves, but be in their own space. And we do expect some responsibility and there, because if it ain't working, it ain't working, and it must work. You with me? So I think, to round that up, I would say it's a very good point, and that's probably why sometimes we do consider, okay, should we set up a base somewhere and etc. But I can say for our two team members that don't live in South Africa, they're priceless to me. You with me? Like I love them. So not having their so. It's a tough one for us with the model that we've created, but you never know. Things with some of the things we are looking to do. A few points back, we're actively heavily pursuing a few avenues, especially in the AI space. That could change. You know what I'm saying? But for our offering at the moment, it really does work swimmingly. And just to add that our clients meet us in person all the time. You with me? And a lot of the time I find it's at their convenience. So at their offices where they're comfortable, and that's more challenging for myself or whoever's going to go and take that meeting, I guess. But I hope that puts our clients at a bit of ease, because they do get that in person. They're not talking to a screen, per se. And hopefully from the comfort of where they are operating or exist. So, pros and cons again. But again, I come from a sporting background. I like the team vibe, and I do think that the culture point is a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. You alluded to AI a couple of times. We don't need to dive into the new products that you're developing for your clients. I'm more interested in whether or not you're integrating AI tools into your daily workflows internally.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. On the side of visual creation, 100%. And then, the obvious one is, I'm sure everyone's got it in its pockets, is ChatGPT. It's changed the scope of copywriting for websites, social media, etc. It comes across as the more obvious one, but there's a reason for that, because it really has enabled productivity to go from one place to another. And again, a human, unfortunately, has got a tired button on them after a long day, or you write enough copy in one day, you unfortunately are sapped. Whereas I think, again, for the productivity of it, the obvious ones like ChatGPT, and then moving on to some more ones we feel we've done well to kind of come across and be working on early are some of the visual creators. Yeah.
How are you thinking about upskilling your team as the technology evolves, or are they upskilling themselves?
I would say that what we would like to do is add onto our team. That's more kind of where we are looking, because I think, the team we have for what we do at the moment, I'm really proud of. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need them to kind of, they're all of them are passionate about the space themselves, so they are constantly, I would say, taking their own responsibility, and constantly coming in and saying, "Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen?" And again, we have an open vibe. So our team always put me onto things, if you will. So yeah, to get back to the core of it, I would say we're looking at bringing in more skills in certain spaces.
And just to be clear,
sorry, apologies. Not to, when I say more skills, not where we are with what we offer, we're very happy. I'm saying to extend the offering of what BlueGoat will do in totality.
Okay, got you. So in terms of more skills, is it more human skills or more AI skills? Because nowadays you're never quite sure what someone means.
No, I think that, I think this whole movement starts with somebody who is gifted at it first. You with me? I think even if you take it back to, people prompting and visual creation, I've seen one person use AI visual creative tools, and then I've seen another person use them, and one person does one level of work and the other person blows minds. I think that needs to be really considered in this whole artificial intelligence versus human. I think the best combination is a good human running the AI, or building onto it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where it gets super powerful. You know what I mean? And I genuinely think some people they're just gifted at kind of they've taken to it. They understand it clearer than most, and they're gifted at manipulating and building onto it and using it.
We discussed AI at length in this conversation, and we're certainly seeing AI having an effect and shifting markets across multiple industries. Other than that, are you seeing any other trends within the digital marketing space that you're paying close attention to right now?
Beyond like the kind of I would say, one that I could reference that we do look at and are looking at is where searches are going, from a basic standpoint, with the different now ways of accessing, or where people would go to type in what they're looking for. Those are slight shifts, and I think will continue to be interesting as different platforms combat one another, and the effect they're having on one another. So, from that standpoint, yeah, searching, our business is based on people searching for things, a lot of it, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's fragmented a bit, that is changing a bit, and I would say, on the surface level, I would reference that. On a deeper level, I think more our focus is just to try be a part of the exciting pieces of the AI movement and bringing our own kind of vibe to it. Where we're able to potentially develop things that play a role and are elaboration or improvement on kind of what's already there. But that's easier said than done. Because it's a fast moving old thing.
And if we look back at the past year, so the past 12 months, and this is a double-barreled question for you, what's one big win that you had at BlueGoat, and what's one tough lesson that you learned?
Wow. Looking at the past year, I'd say one big win would be what? Sorry, do you mean technologically or just generally in our journey?
Just generally.
Yeah. So I would say that, back to the kind of, we're about 4.5 years old now. So, there's a journey there. And I think that we are, as a big positive, we find clients easier to convert, to sell. I think a really ever growing great base of work that we've put out. So, I would say just growth has been a great thing in what I would call a tough time, just generally in a world where there's a lot going on that affects economies. You know what I mean? So I would honestly just go with a simple point of seeing growth over this year has been a great win. And then I think a kind of downsides that I could maybe reference, I would say that keeping on top of technology and this whole thing of keeping your eye on not becoming obsolete, it has become the big, I think in this space or in most spaces, I would say that's got to be the kind of worry, the one worry that nags at people. And I suppose that's counteracted by trying to stay on the tip of things, which, takes you out your comfort zone all the time. You know what I mean? In fact, forget the comfort zone. Not that, that's what I'm looking for, but I would say that it can be turbulent in this climate. And I think that can be challenging.
And where do you see BlueGoat Digital in the next 24 months? What are some big goals or aspirations that you and the team are aiming at? Yeah,
so I think growing the team is a huge thing for us. I think that lends itself to some of the points you've made earlier about quality and growth and how that's maintained. So growing the team I would like to see some substantial growth in our team in 24 months for sure. And I would hope to also just see BlueGoat, as we have done in with regards to the traditional pillars. I would say, I'd like to see us pushing innovation with the same passion and just basic care to, make it as friendly and achievable for kind of everybody who wants to work with us. So, in that regard, I would say, being as innovative as possible, and again, in 24 months, I would have liked us to see us grow our offering exponentially. You with me? And again, in 24 months, being able to be a one-stop shop for anything in the space and beyond digital.
And if our viewers and listeners want to connect with BlueGoat, where's the best place for them to do that?
Well, I would definitely say our website. As I said, that's www.bluegoatdigital.co.za. Socials, all socials, LinkedIn, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at BlueGoat Digital. And if you want to email me directly, ross@bluegoatdigital.co.za. But I definitely think, having a look at our website, and that's where, again, we try to drive people to. so they can have a good little spruce as to what we do and get a little feel, and then contact us via.
Well, thank you so much for the conversation. It's really been an informative discussion. I appreciate your time, and you alluded to a possible round 2 podcast sometime in the future where we can unpack some of the new products that you have on the horizon. So I look forward to that conversation.
No, thank you. So I really appreciate you reaching out and getting me on. It's really cool, and it's been a pleasure. And I would love to do round 2, round 3 as we all move forward in this crazy world.
Thanks so much, Ross.